Hey guys. So we have a poster here for a new Nightmare on Elm Street movie. It's not real, by the way. Um, but it brought up the whole thing. I love the night like even on Netflix right now they have the original, and I think they have that crappy fucking remake, the one with Jackie Earl Haley, which I love him as an actor. It's just he didn't bring the oomph to Freddy. Like Freddy is iconic. Robert England is Freddy Krueger. There's no one out there who could play Freddy like Robert England. He is Freddy. So to make a movie and cast someone else that isn't Robert England, I mean the guy's older now, so I mean he can't be Freddy forever. Um, but the original one is online on Netflix. It is such a good movie. I watched it the other day. I saw it. I was like, oh my god. And I watched it. I'm like, this is such a good movie. It really is. The whole series, I mean, it's kind of like any other series that has like five, six, seven movies in there, in their library. Kind of like with Chucky or um Friday the 13th or Halloween. You have ones that are like, oh my god, that was so fucking good. And then you're like, but Nightmare on Elm Street, regardless of the movie, the way he kills everyone are always they're always fun to watch. Um, it's just really, especially with the practical effects. I've said this before in other videos. I love practical effects. I can't stand this fucking CGI shit for everything now. Practical effects, like if it's, something bursting out of someone's chest, it's not CGI. It's like, a prosthetic on them, or they just build an entire like mock-up of that person and then so they can have it as bloody as possible. Stuff like that, where it's not CGI, it's actually there and they're using resources and stuff like that to make it happen. Um, but that's what the old ones were. They were pretty much, you know, practical effects. They'd have some kind of dummy or something that could explode, or prosthetics that they put on to make things look grosser. But it's a great series, and seeing Freddy when he was in Freddy vs. Jason, which I'm still waiting for Freddy vs. Jason 2. At the end of that movie, they show that Jason won, but then Freddy looks at the camera and then winks and smiles, and you hear his laugh, and it's like Freddy's not dead. You would think he would be dead because he got dragged into our world, so he doesn't have that power anymore. But I mean, he's been beaten in the first fucking movie. He was beaten in our world. He's chasing Nancy around her house. He's getting hit with fucking exploding light bulbs and sledgehammers, and then she finally says that she's not afraid of him, that she's taking away all his power, all the power that she gave him, and but yet he keeps coming back. So just because he's beaten in our world doesn't mean he's gonna stay dead, considering he's already dead. So I think it's just like Jason. It's like he goes to hell and then he just comes back. Um, but Freddy vs. Jason 2 would be amazing. Unfortunately, it took forever to get to the Freddy vs. Jason part. I mean, the Freddy vs. Jason part happens within the last, what, 20 minutes of the movie. I mean, it's real fun to watch. Seeing them fight, and you see how Freddy kind of has the upper hand because he's smaller, he's faster. There's the part where they've got like a bunch of like oxygen like tanks and all that, and he's like firing them like torpedoes at Jason. It's really fun to watch. Um, I would love to see a new movie, but with Robert Englund. Like I said, the last one, the reboot with Jackie Earl Haley, great actor, movie fucking sucked. And I think it's on Netflix as well. And I really should go back and watch it because I watched it once when it first came out, and I was like, ugh, oh god. I remember watching the first few minutes. I'm like, hey, it's that dude from Twilight, one of the vampires. I'm like, hey, it's that dude from Twilight. And then he dies, like, immediately. I'm like, well, hi. Is this when you become a vampire? So I would love to see another movie. I don't care if Robert Englund is Freddy, but just seeing him reprise that role in some kind of way. Another good, really good one was Wes Craven's New Nightmare. That one was really fucking good. If you guys haven't seen it, so basically, it is Freddy trying to make his way into our world for real, where it stops being just movies, where Freddy is real, where he's a real legitimate person at this point. It's basically the way they say is like after time, stories, after telling stories for so many times, these characters become so, ingrained in culture and everything. Sometimes these characters can, become part of our reality. And Freddy is tired of being a fictional character. He's trying to make his way into our world. Um, and that he's using, what's her name? Heather Langenkamp. He's using her, who played Nancy. He's using her to kind of make his way into our world. And the redesign for Freddy, oh my god. Actually, hang on, let me find it. So here's the poster, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Got the hand, he's got like the whole metallic-y looking hand. But the fabulous Robert Englund. I mean, he is Freddy. There's no one else who could be Freddy. Here's part of the movie. This is imagine this dude coming fucking after you. Now you can see he doesn't have like his typical claws. They're kind of just like, around his fingers, but he's still got the blades, and they're a lot sharper, a lot longer. Wes Craven, man was a genius. Um, yeah, yeah. Ah, when her son is in the hospital, and Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Yeah, when Robert Englund, her and Robert Englund are like on this talk show, and he comes out dressed as Freddy, and then she starts having Vietnam flashbacks. But just the redesign, they definitely kind of like bulk him up a little bit. Here's when he's in the hospital, but they definitely like I said, they bulk him up a little bit. Um, his clothes are definitely different. They're less vibrant. Well, not less or more. But he's still got the traditional green and red. They gave him he's got this trench coat thing that he's wearing. Of course, he's got his hat, but I think it's what normally a brown hat, but they gave him a green hat instead. But he definitely is bulkier. It's kind of like what am I thinking of? Almost like a super shredder kind of thing. That's what I thought of when I saw him. You see Robert Englund, who's a tall guy, but he's kind of lanky, but then you see this Freddy, and he's like buff looking, kind of like with Shredder in the end of Ninja Turtles 2, where he goes from Shredder to Super Shredder, and he's like this giant hulking fucking monster. Um, that's just what I think about. But it really is a good movie. If you haven't seen it, I guess the best way to do it is um see if it's on Hulu or Amazon or some whatever you guys if streaming sites that you guys use. Or you can just look up clips online on YouTube, because I'm sure there are plenty. But it is a good movie. And this man right here, this man right here, Robert fucking Englund. Uh he is the master of horror. He's so many fucking horror movies this guy's been in. He's a master of the craft. This guy knows how to be scary. He knows how to be intimidating, but he can be fun and loving, and he's kind of like himself in this movie, because they're playing themselves in a way. So in this movie, he is Robert Englund, but then he's also playing Freddy. So he's himself. He's kind and, loving and this and that, and, signing things for fans. But he's also Freddy in this movie. So you get the character he's playing, but also the actor as himself in the movie. It's really good. It really is good. Um, I'm waiting for Freddy in space. You know, Freddy X, Freddy in space. We got a Jason X, and I still Jason X, crappy fucking movie, but still by far the best part of that fucking movie is when they're trying to stop Jason by slowing him down, and so they send him back or create an illusion of Camp Crystal Lake, and the two girls appear talking about have wanting to smoke weed and have sex, and like the next scene we see them in, they're in like fucking sleeping bags, and Jason's got one of them. He's smacking her against the tree, and he's like smacking her. It's fucking hilarious with the sounds that they're making. It's such a funny scene. I remember seeing that. I fucking cried. I laughed so fucking hard. I cried because of how fucking it wasn't out of place, but you see these girls are like, oh yeah, we love premarital sex, and like the next scene, you see Jason like, poof, poof against the fucking tree with her body in the sleeping bag. But yeah, I would love to see a new Nightmare on Elm Street, but they have to do justice to Freddy. I mean, Freddy is charismatic, he's funny, but the last one was just ugh. Just, ugh. Again, Jackie Earle Haley, great actor, terrible Freddy. Terrible Freddy. Um I mean, they also changed him from just a child murderer to a child, you know, that word YouTube doesn't like, who likes to children. Um, so I mean, I guess that, I mean, I kind of always, even in the originals, but without saying it, I kind of always got a sense that he did like to children, because why was he so focused on taking them? I mean, I had I always had that feeling that he wasn't just taking them and killing them. I had a feeling that he was always, you know, so. But this movie, the remake, just kind of came out and said, "Oh yeah, this is what he likes to do." But I can't be the only one. Let me know if you guys always thought the same thing, because I always thought, just taking kids and killing them, for someone who's as sick and disgusting as Freddy, as the character of Freddy Krueger, as disgusting as he is, I wouldn't put it past him to be doing more to these kids than just killing them. He takes these kids, he does horrible things to them physically, with his, and then he kills them. So I mean, I granted that's one thing about the new movie that I did like, that they kind of came out and said, hey, yeah, he likes to children, but very subtle text there with context, with especially the way he acts around some of them. The first movie, I think Nancy's supposed to be what? They're in high school, so they're teenagers. He's got her on the fucking ground, and he's like slowly moving his hand up. That he's like, I have to warn you, princess. The first time tends to get a little messy. I mean, come on. If you didn't think, I mean, regardless, Freddy Krueger is a person, a terrible fucking person. He deserved everything he got. But yeah, let me know if you kind of got that little hint throughout the originals, and because that's something I really don't think they had to come out and say. We pretty much already thought. But what is your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie? For me, like I said, I love the original, but Wes Craven's New Nightmare is definitely up there. Well, there we go. What's your favorite movie, and what was your favorite kill method? Like, out of all the deaths, in all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, what was that one that really stuck out to you? Let me know. That's going to do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.